For more than 100 years, the Panama Canal has been the MVP of global trade routes, a 50-mile shortcut slicing through Central America, connecting the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans and saving ships thousands of miles of travel and gallons of fuel. About 5% of the entire planet's maritime cargo normally cruises through this aquatic expressway. But lately, the canal's less of a high-speed lane and more of a traffic jam. The problem? It's running dry. Water levels have plummeted so severely that the daily ship count has been chopped in half, from 36 ships a day down to just 18. That's a major hit to a supply chain that depends on speed, reliability, and not waiting around like it's the line at the DMV. This isn't just a small shipping hiccup, it's a full-blown crisis. The Panama Canal was built to keep trade flowing like clockwork, but now, for the first time since its grand debut, it's struggling to do its job. And no, this isn't some short-term blip. It's the result of a long, slow burn, literally. At the heart of the canal is Gatun Lake, a giant man-made freshwater reservoir that powers the locks, raising and lowering ships across the isthmus. But Gatun Lake is in serious trouble. It's drying up, and not just a little. The past couple of years have been some of the driest Panama has ever seen. In 2023, the country got a brutal 30 to 40% less rain than usual, and 2024 said, "Hold my umbrella," and brought even less. By the middle of the year, the lake's level had dropped to 78.2 feet. For context, it needs to stay between 85 and 87 feet to keep things humming. Below that, it's like trying to run a bath with a leaky faucet. Less water doesn't just mean smaller ships, it means fewer ships, period. To avoid draining the lake entirely, the Panama Canal Authority had no choice but to cap the number of daily crossings. The result? Ships stuck in line for days, sometimes weeks, just hoping for their turn. At one point in late 2024, there were over 160 vessels stuck in a floating traffic jam. For exporters, this turned the canal from a logistical dream into a nightmare. Some have started detouring around the southern tip of South America or rerouting through the Suez Canal, which, let's be honest, is not cheap and definitely not fast. But here's the twist most folks don't realize. Unlike the Suez Canal, which is happily fed by salty seawater, the Panama Canal runs on precious freshwater pulled straight from Panama's watershed. And every ship that crosses flushes out 50 to 55 million gallons of that water, most of it never to be seen again. Multiply that by dozens of ships per day, and the canal becomes one of the biggest freshwater guzzlers in all of Central America. Now, back when the US built this engineering marvel in the early 1900s, it made perfect sense. Panama was soaking wet year-round, and climate change wasn't even a blip on the radar. But times have changed. The rainy season is now shorter, the dry spells are longer, and the weather has become about as predictable as a toddler with a sugar rush. Panama is waking up to a tough truth. The climate has changed, but the canal hasn't. The century-old engineering marvel was never built to handle today's brutal environmental curveballs. And because the whole system runs on Mother Nature's faucet, aka rain, there's no techie trick or engineering magic wand that can simply refill the tanks. No pipes to pump it in, no giant dehumidifiers pulling water from the sky, just drought and more drought. And here's the kicker. Despite having built the canal back in the early 1900s, the US can't do a thing about it now. The slowdown has already begun shaking the American economy like a shipping container in rough seas. For years, US trade systems operated under one assumption: Panama would always be the reliable shortcut between oceans. But that confidence is drying up, literally. Importers who rely on that route, from big tech to pharma, are now watching shipping times stretch by 2 to 3 weeks. Why? Because with the canal bottlenecked, ships are taking the scenic route around South America, others are rerouting goods into California, and praying the rail. The Panama Canal isn't just running low on water, it's running on borrowed time. Engineers at the Panama Canal Authority are nervously watching the skies, because if the drought continues, and climate models suggest it definitely will, this isn't just a bad stretch, it might be the new normal. The current reduced schedule of ship traffic could become permanent, and in the worst-case scenario, the locks could shut down entirely during future dry seasons. We're talking months of closures. For global trade, that's like saying the internet will go down for a few months. Chaos. And guess what? This is no longer a drill. In early 2024, during yet another painfully dry season, the Canal Authority slashed daily ship crossings to just 18. That's a level we haven't seen since the canal's early days, back when Theodore Roosevelt was still in office. And behind closed doors, officials are quietly admitting that even that number might not be sustainable by 2025 unless the rain gods show mercy, and soon. But here's the kicker. The rain problem isn't just a seasonal hiccup. It's a full-on structural shift. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, projects more frequent and severe droughts across Central America, meaning Panama could be riding this dehydration roller coaster for decades. And if you think the only thing at stake is shipping, think again. Gatun Lake, the canal's beating heart, isn't just for lifting ships. It also delivers drinking water to more than 2 million Panamanians. So if the drought worsens, the government could be forced into an impossible decision: refresh the world's commerce or hydrate its people. That's not just a slowdown, it's a dead stop, and global trade won't wait around for Panama to figure it out. Shipping companies are already plotting their escape routes. Alternate trade paths around South America or across different continents are being mapped out like backup wedding venues, because once commerce picks a new route, it rarely comes crawling back. Panama, for its part, is drawing a line in the sand. In a bold January 2025 speech, President Laurentino Cortizo declared with unmistakable clarity, "The Panama Canal is sovereign Panamanian territory. We are not in 1903, we are in 2025. Translation: Dear foreign powers, especially those wearing red hats or waving checkbooks, Panama is not up for grabs. While his comments were seen as a response to Donald Trump's earlier canal-grabbing rhetoric, there were also a broader warning. Panama won't be dragged into another round of global tug-of-war over a waterway it now proudly owns. But geopolitics is never that simple. Even though Panama holds the deed, its economic arteries are increasingly intertwined with Beijing, and China hasn't needed soldiers or ships to gain influence. It's done it with contracts, cranes, and construction crews, quietly, efficiently, and very strategically. Chinese state-owned firms now run the ports on both ends of the canal. Hutchison Ports operates the port of Balboa on the Pacific and the port of Cologne on the Atlantic. Together, they are the canal's front and back doors. In 2017, Panama signed on to China's Belt and Road Initiative, becoming the first Latin American country to do so. Since then, Chinese companies have snapped up dozens of infrastructure deals, from logistics hubs to data centers. Even the fourth bridge being built over the canal? Yep, that's a Chinese project too. So while the canal's control is technically Panamanian, the reality is it's also a little bit Chinese. And in the high-stakes game of global influence, that's a twist that's making Washington sweat. China isn't exactly being coy. It's playing the long game, plain and simple. While the US is busy talking, China is out here walking, with bags of money. Rather than showing muscle with warships, China's flexing with checkbooks, offering something Panama needs now more than ever: cold, hard capital. As Panama's economy hits the brakes and the canal's water crisis deepens, China isn't just acting like a helpful neighbor, it's aiming to become Panama's BFF in infrastructure. Meanwhile, the US is sitting in the corner, raising eyebrows and issuing carefully worded statements, but offering little in the way of actual solutions, and the world is already feeling the ripple effects. Global shipping routes, they're being turned upside down. Some cargo lines are now taking the long way around South America's Cape Horn, a detour that adds up to 2 weeks and a lot of sailors' sighs. Others are rerouting through the Suez Canal, which, while not ideal, at least has water, but it comes with added time and cost. But Nicaragua isn't the only alternative. Over in Morocco, something massive is rising. The country is building a $25 billion megaport near Tangier, poised to become the biggest logistics hub linking Europe, Africa, and the Americas. And yes, Chinese and Gulf capital are backing it. The future is arriving, just not necessarily via Panama. A century ago, the Panama Canal reshaped the world map by linking oceans. This century, that link may move elsewhere, and the US might not get a starring role this time around. The canal isn't dead, but it's on life support. And while Washington debates and reminisces about the good old days, the rest of the world is already flipping to a new chapter. The question isn't whether America can reclaim the canal. It's whether it still matters in the new global playbook. We tell the stories the headlines overlook. Stick with us, and we'll see you in the next video.